Apologies for the late upload. There's been a bit of a plague outside. And while we're talking about sicknesses, let's talk about love. Specifically love spells and why they're not the best idea sometimes. Let's get into that. Love spells are, by and large, one of the most complicated forms of magic to get working properly. Mostly because it involves another person, and in all likelihood, another person is going to kind of cause you a little bit of issues. Mostly because of their will and how that interplays into yours. But the thing about love spells that's really funny is that, by and large, whenever I find somebody is working with the planet Venus, they always break up. They always break up with somebody. Usually occultists, when they're dealing with Venus, will either get one or two reactions. One, they will break up a toxic relationship and complain about it ad nauseum. Two, they will get into a relationship and it will be generally pretty good. There is no in between here. Venus is one of those planets that is all or nothing. You're either all in on love or you're all out of love, and there is no in between with Venus. The planetary of love is not necessarily the most pleasant, honestly, because love is painful, love hurts, love is a second-hand emotion. That you really need to understand that love magic is not that should be the last priority. Like, at the moment, we're currently dealing with basically a plague going on. So, health magic would probably be better. Health for yourself, your family, your county, that kind of stuff. Money magic if we're not in a plague. I don't know when you're watching this. And just kind of, that kind of magic is generally more preferable because love magic is kind of, it's kind of, that's kind of messy. What love magic will do sometimes is it'll give you a person, and the person will be so unbelievably smitten with you that they want to do nothing else but be with you. Literally nothing else. And, yeah, that can kind of cause problems just a bit, because when you have somebody completely devoted to you, it kind of causes some issues. Likewise, you can get somebody who's completely disinterested in you because you're kind of lame, and they just kind of said, okay, that's a thing, that's fine. You're an acceptable option, right? There's not really a good formula for love magic, but I've found that love magic works best when you're not really in the mood for love, sort of. I found that when you're completely happy with stuff, then doing love magic's probably fine, because you're focusing on other stuff. But in general, I recommend people stay away from it, mostly because if it works really well. If it fails, it nosedives in effectiveness. We're talking, it bombs. There is a few things that bomb harder than love magic. There are tons of things that you could be doing that are better than that. Because, I'll give you an example. I had a person who was like, I want a boyfriend, and I gave him a spell, and they did the spell, and then the boyfriend was actually cheating on them behind their back, and they moved in with the boyfriend, and the boyfriend made up a lie to get them kicked out, and they got kicked out, and then they found out they were cheating, and it was a whole negative spiral. And they're like, what happened? I cast for the perfect... No, you didn't. You cast a very specific spell to get a boyfriend, and you put who I love as much as they love me, and you didn't really like the guy. And you were planning on cheating on him anyways, so, yeah, you're kind of a bitch. Other wonderful stories are, oh god, I had a friend of mine who wanted to do a love spell, and they did the love spell, and they ended up having a situation arise where the person was really into them, and they were really into this person. However, the person was not very good at articulating things, so the miscommunication was, quite frankly, scarring, to say the least. And you gotta remember, Venus is one of the fire planets. And as we have gone over the fire, we know that fire is about change, movement, action, desire, and it can be quite destructive. All things that can be best associated with the emotion of love, which, is not the best emotion to be having. Honestly, there's happiness, contentment, bliss, gratitude. All are better emotions because at least those can be created by yourself. If you're loving something, unless you're loving yourself, you are loving something else. Whether that be a person or an object or a thing or a concept. It's not necessarily the most healthy because that thing isn't going to be 100% in your control. And if it is, that can be even worse because if then something goes wrong, like you were kind of in control of their whole relationship, and if somebody doesn't have autonomy in a relationship, that's just toxic as fuck. That's just really fucking toxic, and you don't want to be in that anyways. And you can tell a toxic relationship 100% of the time because if you start working with the planet of Venus, you'll find that if you start working with the planet of Venus and you're in a toxic relationship, that shit gets fucking destroyed. Every time, without fail, that shit will go down the tubes. It will go down faster than stronger than the Hindenburg. That is the level of breakage that Venus causes to those. So yeah, love magic. Avoid it if you can. Don't be desperate. Just talk to people. Talking to people, even an awkward conversation is probably going to be better than just random love magic. Because random love magic can get you people, but if you're just talking to somebody and you hit it off, it's more organic, questionably, and it will probably last longer. So yeah, that's all for today. Have a good day. Enjoy your day. Stay safe. Have a good one.